Good morning. I got up about 5:45, and it's about 20 after now. And I've made some progress towards picking up camp. But now I'm eating breakfast. Granola again. Thank you, Rob, for the granola idea. And we have some cocoa. So we'll sit a bit and enjoy that. Temperature's a little cooler this morning. It's about 58, which I appreciate. It was about 80 when I got to camp yesterday, which is unseasonably warm for early May. It's okay hiking, but sleeping is problematic. So, but fortunately it did cool off, and it's overcast now. We might get some rain today, my wife says. So, no, we're not worried about that. All right. Can't get out of camp unless I finish eating breakfast. So it's about 7:15, and we're about ready to start walking. Well, let's look at the map first. We are here at Stony Brook campsite, and we're going to continue on the river walk for another few miles, and then leave the river and start climbing, and we'll get to Silver Hill campsite, and then go down at some point and cross Route 4, and then start climbing again and continue on. Eventually we'll cross Pine Knob and come to Cedar Brook campsite. We'll probably get some water there, and then continue along another road crossing, then come to Pine Swamp Brook Shelter, where we'll be spending the night. So next known point is Silver Hill campsite, which is 2.8 miles. It's now about 12 minutes after 8, and we've come to the end of that very pleasant river walk. Not too many sections of the AT like that. But now we have to go up Silver Hill. The campsite's about 0.8 of a mile, and I'm expecting a vigorous climb. It's almost 9:15, and we have reached the side trail to Silver Hill camping area. That ascent was not as vigorous as I thought it was going to be, or remembered it being. There were some places that went pretty straight up. Well, not straight up, but were pretty steep. But there were a lot of places of moderate ascent, and even a few level areas where you could take a break. So let's go take a look. It's about 9:15, and we're back out at the end of the access trail, back on the AT. Hope you enjoyed that little tour of Silver Hill campsite. It's one of the more interesting ones here on the AT in Connecticut. So it's 0.9 of a mile on to the crossing of Route 4. And it looks like there's going to be some uphill, and then there'll be some downhill. What else is new? So it's a couple of minutes before 10, and we have arrived at the crossing of Route 4. This sign, or a predecessor to this sign, was my first awareness of the existence of the Appalachian Trail. This road is the road we would take when my father was bringing me to summer camp north of here. So 45 years ago, or a little more probably. I probably didn't know what it was for years, and may never have hiked it if a friend in high school hadn't introduced me to backpacking. Anyway, we have to go cross Guinea Brook. The sign says that, man, the bugs here are fierce. The sign says that if it's high water, you should go around and take a bypass trail that's about a half a mile long altogether. I'm going to guess the water's not so bad that we can't ford it. And then it's about 2 miles on to an intersection with the Pine Knob. And then it's about 2 miles on to an intersection with the Pine Knob Loop Trail. Actually, there are 2 intersections, and the guide isn't telling me whether it's the first or the second. I'm guessing the second. And after that, Cedar Brook campsite in a bit. So on we go, and we'll see what the Guinea Brook fording looks like. Well, they're right. Fording is required. Well over my ankles. 2-3 inches over my ankles. Not too bad. It's no wild river. It's about 20 after 10. If you watched my very first backpacking video, the AT Mohawk loop hike, then you may recognize this spot. This is the southern intersection of the Appalachian Trail and the Mohawk Trail. Now, the story behind the Mohawk Trail is that it used to be the Appalachian Trail. So if you were a through hiker back in the day, you would be headed up that way and over Breadloaf Mountain, and then back down the other side to Route 7, where you'd cross the Housatonic River to the east side in Cornwall Bridge. And what that meant is, back just a little while ago, we were down on River Road near the Housatonic River, about the same elevation as Cornwall Bridge, and since then we've come up and down and up again. And if you were an AT through hiker back in the day, or even section hiker, you'd be going back down again. So you would have done 2 fairly significant climbs and descents just to get back to the same elevation you were a short time ago, and you could have just walked along the river straight into Cornwall Bridge. They were perverse back in the day, I guess. But we're not going that way because the AT doesn't go that way anymore. We're going this way. And we'll continue to follow the white blazes north. It is just after 11, and we've come to the first intersection with the Pine Knob Loop Trail. It's now about 26 minutes after 11, and we're at the second intersection with the Pine Knob Loop Trail. So it comes up from Route 7 and then follows along with the AT for a while and then goes back down to Route 7. So it's another way to access the AT from down there, I guess. But we're going to continue north on the AT. Should come to Cedar Brook campsite before too long. It's 11:37 and we have arrived at the side trail for the Caesar Brook campsite. It's not a very long side trail. It's really, the campsite's right here. So we'll take a look around here as we have at the others. And we're gonna filter some water down in the brook down below. It's now about 12:15 and I've done my chores. I've done my filming and I've gotten water for the rest of today's hike. It's 2.3 miles from here to West Cornwall Road, which is a paved road, and then 1.1 miles on from there to Pine Brook Swamp Shelter. I'm always concerned I'll get those words out of order since they don't really seem to make a lot of sense. Anyway, on we go. We did have a little brightening in the sky a minute ago, but it's back to its overcast nature, and we've been getting a sprinkle here or there. Temperature hasn't warmed up, which is fine with me. It's about 60. So, you know, I'm enjoying the day. It kind of makes the scenery look a little drab, but can't have everything. It is now 1:35 and I'm standing in the middle of West Cornwall Road, and it's not a safe place to be standing because cars come along here pretty fast and I can't see too far in that direction. There's one I heard from a ways, and then right after that there was one I didn't hear. Anyway, 1.1 miles on to Pine Swamp Brook Shelter. That's the trail north behind me. Of course, we do have to do some climbing to get there. If trail designers find a formation like this out in the woods, they can not, apparently, avoid the temptation to make the trail go through it. Well, that was fun. It's just before 2:30 and we have reached the side trail to the Pine Swamp Brook Shelter and camping area. So we'll go in and see if we can find a place to put up a hammock. So I have been enjoying the facilities here at the Pine Swamp Brook Shelter for a while. I have it all to myself. So not only is there the shelter itself, which offers comfortable places, relatively speaking, to sit, but there is a picnic table, which and it's even a painted picnic table. Somebody has gone to all the trouble to paint the top and the benches a lovely shade of light brown. So as you might be able to tell by the contrast in the pictures, the shadows, the skies have gone to be completely clear and the sun is just brutal out here. It's not that hot, but it's just the glare. So when I got here, I looked around out that way generally, at the official tenting sites, and none of them were even remotely suitable for a hammock, and there was really nothing even in the general vicinity of any of them. So I kept looking, and I'll show you what I found. So up here behind the shelter, there's a little area that's obviously been used as a tent site. The ground is kind of bare beneath it, but it also has a ring of trees around it. And there's a couple of combinations actually that would allow one hammock to be hung in several different orientations, but this is the one I picked, and I think it's going to be fine. It's nice that it's close to the shelter, so I think I'll kind of dash back and forth and I'll cook down there, but obviously I'm not going to sleep down there because I have a hammock. So that's that. Unfortunately, right over there, hope the sun doesn't get you too bad, is the privy, but it's a nice privy and I detect no odors whatsoever, so we're putting up with the privy, and if we need to use it, it's close by. It's time to start thinking about dinner. A serious subject. So tonight we're going to have something we've had before, which is shrimp and sausage jambalaya. So if you've watched my videos, you may recall that, and again, this is one of Babelfish 5's recipes, and he calls for a pre-soak of 10 minutes before putting the water on the heat. So we'll set that up now. So we're going to open up our freezer bag and then pull out our ingredients bag. And dump all the ingredients into the pot. And cover with ½ an inch. As I recall, this tends to dry out, so we're going to be, generous with this. Alright. And that's what that looks like. So we'll let that soak for 10 minutes, like the directions say. So while we're waiting our 10 minutes, well, we'll spend some of it collecting twigs for the bush buddy, but just wanted to talk because you might have been wondering about people out on the trail. It's early May. Is anyone else still out here? And the answer is a few people, but not many. So I have seen some day hikers, and actually just as I was about to start filming this, a couple of guys went by on the trail southbound. And from what I could see, they were not wearing backpacks, so they were out for a stroll on a lovely evening. So other than those two guys, I only saw one person on the trail today, someone who was also going northbound and came up behind me and went by me pretty quickly, and we only said a few words. And but he looked like a long distance backpacker to me, but it's way too early for thru hikers. When I got here and read the shelter register, he claims to be thru hiking Georgia to Maine with the trail name of Iceman, which I'm guessing in the southern sections of the trail was quite appropriate. God knows when he must have started to be here now. But, so there you have it, a thru hiker. Crazy. Okay, so we're nearing the 10-minute mark on our pre-soak. So it's time to start our fire. And so we'll be looking for some thin birch bark that will light easily. Try to do it in a way that I don't burn myself. I burned myself. Well, let's see if we can get some twigs going. All right. Well, I think we can put the pot on while we continue to feed it. Let's think about this. Like that. Ah, just coming to a boil. I could get less clumsy at this. There we go. Well, that's definitely a full boil, so we'll take that off and put it down. Now, I've said in the past, and it's still true today, that stove coming straight off the Bush Buddy is hotter than it would be coming off an alcohol stove, for example. So I will generally let that cool for at least a few moments before putting that into its cozy. Anyway, so the jambalaya has sat for 10 minutes, and that's what it looks like, which looks pretty good to me. Maybe a little soupy. I need more liquids. And as before, it tastes very good. I think I'm going to let it sit a little longer, despite what Battlefield 5 says. Something there's a little bit crunchy. Well, I guess that's it for today then. The dinner and cocoa were good, and then I got all cleaned up and got the earth sack hung. And just as I was getting ready to pop into the hammock, a hiker showed up here at the shelter. But he plans to tent out, so looks like no one will be in the shelter. Got a message from Kim on the Delorme telling me that the forecast for tomorrow is sunny and warm. I'm not sure if that's good news or not, but not much we can do about it either way. So again, I'm going to do some Kindle reading and maybe a little bourbon sipping, and until I can't take it anymore, and then go to bed, go to sleep. See you in the morning.